Newspaper: It's over. Caitriona Balfe has finally completed her divorce from Tony Mcgill. Late autumn in Dublin, the wind blows through the ancient cobblestone streets. In a corner of a small coffee shop, Caitriona Balfe sits alone. She looks out the steamy glass window, her tired eyes seeming to contain 1,000 nameless feelings. For the past 3 years, the outside world still believes that she, the star of Outlander, is living happily in her marriage to Tony Mcgill, a successful businessman, once considered the peaceful harbor of her life. But only Caitriona knows that those years were actually a series of tense, heavy days full of silent cracks. Married life is no different from a house with walls gradually cracking. At first, there were just a few small cracks that no one noticed, but then they grew bigger, crept in, and one day, the whole house seemed about to collapse. Caitriona tried to fix it. She once believed in Tony's promise, once believed that with enough love, the two could overcome any storm. But the truth was different: distance, indifference, simmering arguments. All of them accumulated and turned into an unfillable abyss. During the most difficult days, there was one person who was always quietly by her side: Sam Heughan. A soulmate who never leaves her side. Sam and Caitriona have been together since the early days of filming Outlander. For nearly a decade, they were not only colleagues, co-stars, but also soulmates, a relationship that fans often wondered if it was love. Sam was the first to notice that Caitriona's smile had lost its inherent light. On set, she was still professional, still radiant in front of the camera, but after each scene, she often sat silently for hours, as if she was carrying an invisible mountain on her shoulders. "Cat, you don't have to suffer alone," Sam once said one night when they stayed late at the studio. She looked at him, her eyes filled with tears. But Caitriona did not answer. In her heart at that time, Sam was like a lighthouse in the middle of a dark ocean, bright, steadfast, but too far for her to reach. However, as the days passed, that light got closer, warming the empty spaces that Tony had forgotten. The fateful decision. Divorce proceedings were never easy, especially when Caitriona had a marriage that was once praised as a dream. The media, public opinion, family, even fans, everyone would follow, gossip, and criticize. There were nights when she tossed and turned until morning, wondering, am I wrong? Is divorce a failure of a woman? Sam did not advise her on what to choose. He was there, quietly, letting her know that whatever she decided, he would support her. The day Caitriona walked into the lawyer's office to sign the final papers, Sam held her hand tightly. No flowery words, just a firm squeeze, as if to send the message, you are not alone. Tears rolled down Caitriona's cheeks as the pen left the paper. It was over, an old chapter closed, bitter but necessary. The media exploded. The news that Caitriona Balfe had officially divorced Tony Mcgill spread like wildfire in a dry forest. Newspapers big and small ran the headlines: Caitriona Balfe ends marriage to Tony Mcgill. Outlander star officially divorced. What was the real reason? What role did Sam Heughan play in Caitriona's decision? Reporters surrounded her. Fans were divided into factions. Some supported her, saying that personal happiness was more important than anything else. Others criticized and blamed Sam, saying that he was the reason for the broken marriage. Amidst the storm of public opinion, Sam and Caitriona remained silent. But their silence was not weakness, but steadfastness. They understood that there were things that did not need to be explained, because time would answer everything. A moment just for two. After the day the court officially announced, Sam took Caitriona out of the city. They went to a Scottish countryside, where the green grassy hills stretched endlessly, where the wind blew freely and the sky seemed wider. There, Caitriona allowed herself to cry, allowed herself to breathe, allowed herself to live her true self after months of struggling. Sam didn't ask anything, didn't push anything. He just walked beside her, sometimes telling funny stories, sometimes silently watching the sunset with her. You know, I used to think marriage was the final destination of my life. But it turns out, it's just a journey. And I finally dared to turn to another path. Caitriona whispered. Sam looked at her, his eyes gentle but also burning. Sometimes, the end is not a loss, but a beginning. New days. Divorce is not the end. It just opened another chapter. The chapter where Caitriona had the right to be herself, to find her smile again, to love and be loved. Sam continued to be by her side, without fanfare. But every little action, a hug, a handshake, a late-night message, all became the support for Caitriona to walk. The media still speculated, fans still asked questions, but to Caitriona, that no longer mattered. Because, in the moment she turned to look at Sam, she knew that she was not alone. A whisper in the middle of the night. One night, as the two sat by the fireplace, Caitriona hesitated. Sam, you've been with me all this time. I don't know how to thank you. Sam smiled, placing his hand on her shoulder. You don't need to thank me. I just want you to be happy. That's all. The flickering fire reflected in their eyes. There are things that don't need to be said, but both understand. One journey has ended, and another is about to begin. The end is the beginning. The day Caitriona officially announced to the press, I have completed the divorce procedure. And I am fine. The audience was overwhelmed. The image of her standing next to Sam, smiling firmly, became a symbol of strength and freedom. Caitriona's story is not just about a broken marriage. It is a story about courage, daring to let go to live true to yourself. And more importantly, it is also a story about friendship, love, and the companionship of someone who is always there, regardless of prejudice. Sam has been with her throughout the journey, from tears to smiles. And now, when the old doors have closed, a new path is opening before them, a path that both of them will walk together, no longer bound by the past.